My second year in, I'm walking through the grill room. Gabe's got a cigarette hanging out, got a scotch in his hand. Curry, if I knew I'd lived this long, I wouldn't smoke and drink. Let alone him being butt naked with a towel over him. I mean, who does this, right? Where am I? Ollie Minnick, Mike Dorian Sr. are the best. Don Brooks, Dick Brooks, Nicky Mandela. Never paid for a meal. Right? Joe Harvey, Charlie Hanson, Vargas Manugian. Was Varky dapper? Did you ever remember? Dressed to the nines. Love Vargas. Tom Dansbury, Jim Urema. Gotta love Jim, right? Howard Ledoux, Chet Kosha, Bob McCabe, even Bob. Penny Fuller. Who remembers Penny Fuller? Penny Fuller was a natural golfer. She would not golf all season long, come out, sign up for the ladies' women championship, and whoop them. So the ladies committee goes, you have to have 10 rounds in for you to play before you can play in the club championship. That was hilarious. She goes, I'm a member. I got to have 10 rounds in to play in the championship?
What was her maiden name?
Do not, oh, Jackson. She was Mike Jackson's sister, NP. You right? How about Dr. McAvoy? Remember Doc used to park in the back?
No, Barry. Doc McAvoy. You either get 50 cents or you get a hot dog.
Barry, you bought a car and you rolled up and
Oh my God.
Mike, you got a car for me?
Rip the Rep Master. Anybody remember Rip? Bubba Cole. Who remembers Bubba Cole? Bubba Cole had the best Christmas parties ever because he loved the girls. Oh my God, Bubba. Reese McFarland, Tom Roncelli, Steve Roncelli, Nino Jenna. What a gem of a guy, Nino. George Harbinian. And now we got another George Harbinian. George, are you here?
He's here.
You're the best too, right? And Harpo was the best too. Your uncle? Grandfather. How about Bill Pettibone? Billy rolled up in his Rolls Royce. Remember Billy with a big Rolls Royce? Joe Bayless. George Thomas. Anybody remember George Thomas? So when I first became a member, I wanted to establish a handicap. So my card was G. Thomas. I turned in 75, and George was like a 20 handicap. He went down like 8 clicks because the starter. He was putting my scores in for George. That was not good. Judge Thorborn, Babe Kudrenke, Watson Brown, Eddie Kasparian, Mo Asarian, Ed Gorski, Bob Clark. Remember Bob? The banker? Frank Partalis. Jack Cooley and Beth. Great guy. All right? Spartan fan? Ralph DeRose. Anybody remember Art Vandell? Art Vandell did 15 to 20 waggles before every shot. This is the waggles when they get up there and they go. "15 of them every time." It's hilarious. Oh, it's funny. Let's see. Jim Rodney, great guy. Jim Rodney, Bill and Jim Everett, Paul Frank, Al Benny. Everybody remember Al? Gus Cosmos. Who cannot remember Gus Cosmos, right? So I'm a member here. Gus is with the GAM, and he does the scorekeeping and all the amateurs. The guy this guy worked forever, right? And so I'm out on the golf course, but he was good with the foot wedge. Woo! GIM guy, and I see a foot wedge going on here. I was doing the foot wedge. Then he doesn't even know I see it. I'm over there in the cart, and he's like, invitation. Well, okay, give a little foot wedge. Gotta love that.
Jerry, at the candy banquet, you wanted Gus at your table.
He was hilarious. Love Gus. Don Eberhardt. All right, God rest his soul, Don. Right? Poor Don. Don Trolson. Gotta love Donnie, right? Dr. Cosgrove. Bob and Georgie Finnerty. Jack Dunkel. Everybody remember Jack? Charlie Bowser. Chuck DeVito. Remember Chuck? Senior. Agim Barda. Nazi Barda. Nazi, right? Most rounds ever. Nicest wife ever. Eric Barda. And now Loretta. We're Loretta. Yeah.
All right, Loretta.
Wally Baker. Bob McMasters.
Yeah.
Gary Mao. Tom Dansbury. Pete Robinson. Big mistake. I sat down and drank with Pete Robinson one day. That did not go well. At all. My God. I don't know how I got home. Remember those? How about Dr. Bill Marshall? Joe Shields? Remember Joe? Dr. John Popovich? Bruce Campbell? Dr. Mabelia? Remember the doc? Henry and Laura Shooter? Right? Who remembers Mike Zanedzian? Judd Austin. Hank Kinsey. Come on, Hank. How great is that? All right? Marvin Schimmahorn. Marvin. This guy was the only guy that I knew that could play golf with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And never even, couldn't believe it. Cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Loved it.
And who was his partner?
Jerry. And we'll get to Jerry. Tom Gossett.
Yes.
Tom Gossett. I not love that guy, right? Bill Keogh. Bud Gray, the Indian. Anybody remember the Indian? So Bud Gray, I'm walking through the men's grill again at night because my irrigation system was not the best. Gary, come here, come here. Grabs my hand, cuts it with a knife. Cuts his hand. We're blood brothers now. It was the Indian. These guys are like, oh my God. Anybody remember that guy? Bud and Cal Chamberlain. Remember the Chamberlains? Were they real estate? Real estate, right? Mike Benny, Dan Huco, Don Chin. Gotta love Don Chin, right? Who does not remember him? God love him. Jerry Bebach, one of the best ever. Ron Paskey. Tom Violani, Bob Puskas, Bill Adams Sr., Leah Marshall Yambura, Jerry Lindenborg, Jerry. Hey, now I love Judy. You was the best, right? Everybody know the story. He never took left turns. Everybody hear that? Is that a true story?
True story. True story.
Jerry Lindenberg was an attorney, wherever he was driving, he would only take right turns to get to because
You ever go down
all the accidents were left-handed turns. So he always.
Gary?
Yes.
Gary, we went to a Red Wings game with Woody. From here to Olympia.
All right turns. All right turns. Thanks. John Coons and the entire Coons family. What an amazing family. Frank and Megan Gallagher. Love the Automotive Golf Classic. One of my favorite outings of the year. Ron Kramer. Anybody remember Ron? My neck's still not right. When he puts you in a headlock, he won't let you go. Anybody been in a Ron Kramer headlock? It's not fun. Mike Lucci. Mike Lucci, the Spalding for Children golf outing. Norm Mack. Gotta love Norm. He was here? John Fayad. John Scott. John Hey. Putt Hurd.
Here's the putt.
Pat Fayad. Tim Marker. Remember Tim? Mike? That guy could run a crap game. He was the best, wasn't he?
The best.
I need 40 again.
Ron Bishop. Tom Morris. How do you not love Tommy? Preston Kemp. David Levy. Bill Raven. Don Jackson. Bert DiStefano. Denny Massiol. These are all people that have touched me in one way or another. Gizmados, Harry. Steve Knight. With Jeannie. And Cindy. And Mindy. I think I got it right. Did I get it right? The Pikenons? The Pikenons here? Gotta love the Pikenons. All right?
He's right here, Gary.
For here ever, your dad, brother, thank you. Mark Fritz and Mary.
He's right there.
John Anders.
Yeah.
How do you not like John? There's John too. George Jankovic. Bob Sage and Joni. Everybody know Joan? So I think my first year or second year Ladies' Day, and the ladies are putting on number one, so I stopped my cart because I didn't want to disturb them. And the lady presumes to miss a putt, and MFO, I mean, what was going on? Where am I? I won't tell you who it was, but you can only assume. Somebody's got to love it. Where am I here? I'm at Red Run. Dave and Rick Robinson, thank you so much for everything. Doug Foyer and Mark, thank you. Mike Matins, Mark Corbett, the Bucks here. Thank you so much, Margaret. Love you on the committee, it was awesome. The Cairns family, all right, Flo and Bill, right? Bill, Flo, Brian. Watch Brian grow up here, be a great golfer. And Mike's a great golfer also.
And so's Kevin.
And Kevin, right? They're all good golfers.
All good golfers.
Rob Ledbetter and Ellie. Rob. The Dankoviches. Thank you. Roger Denha. Now there's a beaut. Right? Hanger. There's a beaut. Roger, I love you. Oh, my. Where were you my whole life? I love it. Oh, I can't tell any stories though with Roger. That won't go well. Or it could.
It would be entertaining.
Oh, Roger. Rusty Brown. I love Rusty. The Bernanke's. The Bernanke's here?
Yes, they're here.
Thank you. Rick Vespa.
Yes.
Dave Williamson.
Yes.
Tim Colosimo.
Yep.
Tom Panico. Dr. Salerno. Dr. Janelle. All people that have touched me one way or another. Ron George. Mark Smolinski. Thank you, Mark. I don't know where Mark is, but great. Thank you, Mark. Great having you on the committee. It's great having a field engineer on my committee. Understood about A horizon, B horizon, C horizon. Plate tectonic theory. Paul Nafuzzi, Alex Nafuzzi, Steve Kokenauer. I see Coconut here. John Alexopoulos. Thanks, John. Pat and Julie Desmet. Thank you. Gus Kavaris. The Borans. Bob and Mary. Michael Williams. Thank you. The Kersimers. Thank you. The Whitneys. Thank you. The Whitneys are here. It's great. The McDonald's. McDonald's is here. Thank you so much. Thank you. And of course the Santees. Mike and Jane. Thank you, Santees. Chuck Christie. Tom Stone. Rocco Franco. Mark Epperjesse. Chris Parrott. Thank you, Chris. Great treasurer. Watched our pennies very wisely. And it was great. I was always on budget, by the way. Sort of. This was a tree account. I was a little over budget. Perry Stevens. Thank you, Perry. Mike Dorian. Mike, the Dorian family. Mike Dorian, Carol, Michelle, Tony, Dwayne. Knew him my entire life here, 38 years. Mike, so many memories. I just can't, we sit down and talk sometime, and we could probably talk for 2 days straight with all the different memories that we had and laugh forever because we still had a great time. And I want to thank you, Mike, for bringing 2 beautiful children into my life, because if I wasn't with you that night, Nick and Neil wouldn't be here. Is that true? Is that true story?
That's a good story.
And of course, Tim Holden.
Yes.
Thank you, Tim. Tim, you're our best friend ever. And growing up together with our kids and spending so much time, we had so much fun together. And all your pets, Rockney and Fairway. Rockney over the coach of Notre Dame. Is that right? So thank you so much. So, and I apologize if I missed anybody, because that was just, all those people have touched me, and a lot of them, a lot of older members. And hopefully I touched a little bit of the past with with these names.
Zoom school.
But it would be remiss not to mention some of the people I've worked with too. Okay, so I got to mention some people I've worked with. Jim Farhat. Okay, so probably gonna tear up a little bit here, but it is what it is. Jim Farhat, 14 years I worked with Jim, and what a great manager, a great person. Ralph Campbell, I worked with Ralph for 10 years. You know, Ralph was a good guy, in my opinion anyway. I had no problems with Ralph. And I worked with Derek for 10 years also. Andy Roback, I'm kind of skipping. Because that was a one-year adventure. So I did 14 with Jim, I did 10 with Ralph, I did 10 with Derek, and now I've been blessed to do 3 years with Joseph Marini.
Yeah.
All right? So, him and I are a lot from the same mold when it comes to leadership and goal-oriented and vision, and right away I knew he was the guy that had a vision for this place, and I was on board from day one because I've been preaching this for a long time. And him and I hit it off right out of the gate. Jim Riggins. You gotta remember Jim Riggins. You gotta remember Willie Wilson. You gotta remember Peter Hunter, Gene Hill, John Kiles, Marion, Benson, Sam Hicks. How can you not remember Sam, right? George the ballet. Other people that have touched me with employees, always Vicky. Vicky was a receptionist for here years. Anybody remember Vicky? Marilyn up in accounting. Linda Clark was a controller. Brian Charter, one of the best guys ever. All right, you gotta love the Brian, right? Guy could play golf. You know, during my tenure with Brian, I think he qualified for at least 2 or 3 PGA championships. I know he played at
Cherry Hills.
He played at Cherry Hills in Denver once. And when you qualify as a pro, they put you at the very end. And he was playing rock hard greens at Cherry Hills. He said it was ridiculous. I mean, P irons and the ball's bouncing 10 feet in the air. And then he qualified at Shoal Creek, I believe, too. Played at Shoal Creek. And Mike Dorian and him and I would play a couple. We went out to Vegas and played a couple events and had a great time. Great putter. He always had a couple of antics, Mike, while he was putting. I think it was one of the hips. Yeah, so he'd be looking at putts. He always go.
Yes. You got a hit so
Got to remember Sansa belts, right? Sansa belts. And then boom in the hole, boom. Great guy. Anybody remember a starter named Mark Bond? You do remember Mark? And one of our infamous starters, Chris Volza. Gotta remember Chris. So anyway, and I also have to thank my 2 sons, Nick and Neil.
Yeah.
They grew up here and they loved the Red Run, just like I did. And many memories running around the golf course with our dogs, Bogey, and we had another dog named Birdie, which was great. And we were ice skating on the ponds. We used to keep the ponds, we cut an ice rink and fish, chasing geese, plowing snow, cutting grass. So love you both.
Go for it. Go for it. One more time. Get together one more time. What should we be?
But as I'm employment continued here. The best thing that came out of Red Run was meeting Michelle and Coleman. And I'm probably gonna tear up a little here, maybe. So, Michelle has definitely had a direct impact and influence on my life in the last 8 years. Because if anybody knew me, you gotta know that she set me straight, right?
Thank God.
And I am so blessed to have you in my life, Michelle. So, for Michelle becoming my wife after dating a couple years, I would have to say that being a spouse of a superintendent is not always easy, right? Kind of like being married to a farmer, which I am, because it was always too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry, and it was never rarely just right. But when it was a pretty good time, right? But so Michelle always saw the good things, for sure, and saw my passion for my job when we started talking, and we started talking, and we started talking even more, and then eventually we went out after a lot of talking. But to describe Michelle, it would be hard to not say that you are one of the most loving and trusting and honest and caring, beautiful at all times, and patient and organized, and your love of your family. And I'm going to recognize her family, please. Carol and John Coleman, Marilyn DeHart, Karen Stralke and her daughter, Allie, Kathy and Doug Fry, and Stella and Lucy and Charlie. Thank you for being here. She has a love for her family like no other. So with that, I'm going to thank you all again. I hope I touched some memories for you all. It certainly has touched some memories for me. So thank you, everybody, from the bottom of my heart. I love you all. Thank you.